Gun stores aren't running dry from panic. They're selling out from passion. Something different is in the air, and it's not fear this time. Could it be that Trump's Second Amendment revolution is actually giving gun owners room to breathe and a reason to buy boldly again? In this video, we'll talk about 5 red-hot firearms that are vanishing from shelves, not because of bans, but because Trump's policies made room for a new kind of gun owner confidence. We're seeing shooters ditch bare-bones compromises and start investing in gear they actually want to shoot. First up, we'll look at Springfield's latest optics-ready comped pistol. Modular, low recoil, and built to ride comfortably in a duty holster. Then there's KelTec's wild entry into the 5.7 world, a top loader with no detachable mag that somehow makes deep penetrating rounds pocket-sized. And if Cold War rifles are your thing, PSA and H&R teamed up to resurrect a historic battle rifle that nearly replaced the M14 in U.S. trials. But we're just getting started. We'll also dig into Henry's suppressor-optimized lever gun, lightweight, carbon-wrapped, and made for subsonic hunting or range time without plugs. And capping the list is a new executive-grade wheel gun from Taurus that looks like a $1,000 custom job but rings in around $700. Complete with walnut grips and hand-fitted internals. These 5 firearms are already flying off shelves across the country, not because people are afraid, but because, for the first time in years, they feel like they can build without compromise, all thanks to Trump's policies. Without further ado, Springfield Armory built its name on practical fighting pistols, and the Echelon platform proved they could marry modular engineering to duty-grade reliability. The integrally comped variants push that idea further. At $749 MSRP, the 4-inch and 4.5-inch models drop a single port directly into the barrel and slide. So, gas jets up, the muzzle drives straight back, and the dot barely leaves the window. No screw-on muzzle device to chase loose, and no extra length to jam into a holster. The variable interface system accepts most red dots without plates, which means the gunship's ready for the RMR, the EPS carry, or whatever optic wave crests next year. Springfield's goal wasn't race gun gold medals. The company wanted a service pistol that shoots like a tuned toy but still rides in a duty holster. The result is a 9mm that feeds from 17 and 20 round magazines, runs a hammer-forged barrel, and weighs just under 24 ounces empty. Texture is aggressive enough for wet hands, yet it doesn't sandpaper a cover garment. Owners of the standard Echelon already rave about the trigger. The comped slide simply lets them press it faster. Shooters love the recoil reduction and the flat return to zero. But they also appreciate the practical touches. The iron sight picture sits behind the ports so it never fogs with carbon, and the VIS posts come in the box, not as an upcharge. Downsides? Integral ports spit more gas upward in low light than a plain muzzle, and the extra machining adds about $70 over the non-comped variant. Some counties still frown at threaded weapons, so the fixed port approach dodges that drama. Yet indoor ranges might grumble about blast against lane dividers. Why will these pistols disappear long before 2026? Because Trump's push to kneecap arbitrary ATF rulemaking finally gives enthusiasts confidence to buy track-ready handguns without worrying the rules will flip overnight. The comp, the optic, the higher capacity magazines, everything that felt risky 2 years ago now feels like the way forward. Add Springfield's solid parts pipeline, and the Echelon comp becomes the middle-price do-everything gun thousands have been waiting to justify. KelTec never chases tradition, and the PR57 proves it. At $399 MSRP, street prices already creep toward $475. This 5.7 pistol ditches detachable magazines entirely. Instead, a Garand-style stripper clip slides 10 rounds through the top into a rotary internal stack, leaving the grip thin, the weight a feather-light 13.86 ounces, and pockets suddenly roomy again. That decision alone turns heads, yet the rest of the pistol keeps pace. A 4.64-inch barrel squeezes serious velocity from the flat-shooting 5.7 by 28mm cartridge, and the optics-ready upper accepts micro-red dots so small they barely break the rounded slide silhouette. George Kellgren designed the PR57 for concealed carriers who want rifle-like penetration in a platform that actually hides. No side mag bulge means the grip measures closer to a single stack 9 even while feeding bottleneck cartridges. Field stripping is classic KelTec simplicity. Tug the trigger guard forward, and the slide lifts free. Fewer parts equal fewer stoppages, and owners already report Glock-level ease of cleaning. The concept isn't perfect. Reloads are slower than a box mag swap, and new users must learn to seat the clip firmly. Traditionalists sneer at a pistol that loads like a vintage rifle, and ammunition remains pricier than bulk 9mm. Yet the calculus is changing. PSA, AAC, and Federal have all expanded 5.7 offerings, driving costs down. A Trump Justice Department openly praising national reciprocity means more citizens can carry across state lines, so they're hunting for lightweight pistols that hit above their class. The PR57's combination of price, novelty, and practical ballistics makes it the gateway drug into the 5.7 world. Folks who always wanted an FN 5.7 but balked at $1,400 now see a sub-$500 ticket. Add KelTec's reputation for shipping in waves. Dealers often get a single case, then wait months, and the smart buyer grabs one as soon as it lands in the showcase. Few rifles evoke Cold War grit like the Fusil Automatique Léger, and Palmetto State Armory's resurrection of the Harrington & Richardson T-48 trial gun taps straight into that nostalgia. PSA bought the H&R brand, borrowed an original sample, and tooled up a semi-auto clone that mirrors the 1950s candidate America almost adopted instead of the M14. Street pricing hasn't been finalized, but insiders whisper $1,600 to $1,800, half what Belgian clones command. Every detail caters to history buffs. The top cover accepts 10-round stripper clips, so 308 strips straight from bandoliers, just like the trials demanded. A forward assist charging handle, machined from solid bar and integral to the receiver, plants the shooter's palm exactly where the engineers intended. Wood furniture carries the same contour as the originals, and the tall gas block keeps sight planes era correct. PSA could have trimmed corners with polymer, yet stuck to steel and walnut, even if that pushes unloaded weight near 10 pounds. Cons exist. The rifle is heavier than any AR-10, recoil feels honest, and surplus steel magazines remain scarce until PSA's new tooling goes live. Polymer mags feed fine, but purists want parked steel. Still, the rifle's virtues override the trade-offs for many buyers. Roller locking action? No. Direct impingement? Absolutely not. Instead, the long-stroke piston soaks up abuse, cleans easily, and runs filthy, traits soldiers liked in the original FAL. Demand spikes because the political climate finally rewards traditional battle rifles. Trump's trade policy favors domestic production, and collectors want a gun forged in South Carolina, not an import caught in tariff crossfire. Bruin's History and Tradition test has lower courts slapping magazine bans, opening the floodgates for 20-round 308 boxes again. Combine those factors with limited first-run receivers, and the T-48 clone becomes a prime candidate for sold-out banners by election night. Henry's Special Products Division launched the Hush line to answer one question. What if a lever gun were designed from day one to wear a suppressor? Each model lists at $1,999, whether you choose .45 Colt, .357 Magnum, .44 Magnum, .30-30, or .45-70 Government. The price sounds steep until you examine the parts. A 416R stainless match tube wrapped in a carbon fiber tension sleeve keeps the 16.5-inch barrel rigid yet cool. The sleeve rides a 95% air gap, so heat dissipates quickly, accuracy stays repeatable, and weight drops to roughly 6.5 pounds. Henry partnered with Tapco for a skeletonized aluminum fore-end cut for M-Lock, then topped the receiver with a forged carbon Picatinny rail using Aris technology. Iron sights vanish completely, signaling that this rifle expects a low-powered variable optic and a tubeless can. A dark gray laminate buttstock hollows just enough to preserve balance once a suppressor adds inches up front. Shooters love the modern handling and the closed-action quiet that lever rifles already provide. Fast follow-up shots remain intuitive because the barrel's center of gravity hardly shifts. Yet purists may frown at the lack of traditional brass, and some states cap hunting magazine capacity, 7 in the pistol calibers, 4 in .30-30 and .45-70, though that rarely matters for ethical hunters. The lever platform dodges almost every proposed assault weapon definition, making it legally boring in the best sense. Trump's pledge to trim the NFA transfer logjam dovetails with Congress flirting again with suppressor deregulation. Hunters foresee a future where attaching a can is as simple as mounting a scope. So, they want a host that's already optimized. Henry plans limited numbers for each caliber while the SPD team refines new projects. Fast-cooling carbon barrels aren't cheap to build, and laminate wood demands time to finish, which means early adopters will soak up inventory long before policy winds settle. The revolver renaissance rolls on, and Taurus aims right at the center of that wave with the 605 executive grade. MSRP sits at $757.99, and the package arrives in a black polymer hard case instead of cardboard. 3-inch stainless barrel, polished to a mirror sheen, mates to a likewise finished 5-shot cylinder. Presentation-grade walnut grips add enough class for any brisket cookout, yet still anchor recoil when .357 Magnum loads crack off. Taurus built the executive line inside a dedicated cell in Bainbridge, Georgia. Smiths hand-tuned the double-action system, stoned the trigger surfaces, and fit the extended ejector rod until empties sail clear. The 605 keeps dimensions trim, 1.4-inch width and barely 23.5 ounces unloaded. That weight makes 38 special practice sessions pleasant and, paired with a brass front insert, aids rapid sight recovery. Not everything glitters. The double-action pull still crosses 12 pounds, and shooters with weaker grip strength may fight accuracy until they build muscle or stage the hammer. The revolver carries only 5 rounds, a reality of compact Magnum frames, and moon clips aren't an option. Yet the trade-offs are honest. Simplicity, corrosion resistance, and snag-free edges win confidence for appendix carry. Why will this wheel gun vanish from shelves? Because the executive-grade label brings a custom shop feel at production line money. Colt's Python commands over $1,400, and Smith's Performance Center J-frames orbit $1,000. Taurus undercuts both by a wide margin. Constitution carry states keep multiplying, and many citizens trust a revolver more than a semi-auto they've never field-stripped. Add Trump's Department of Justice rescinding public health gun scare memos, and new owners feel emboldened to buy what they actually want instead of the cheapest option. Speed loader compatibility with existing 5-shot patterns means accessories are easy to source, and the stainless build shrugs off sweat in southern heat. Dealers receive executive grades in small batches, each revolver riding its fitted foam insert. So, once the case empties, the reorder delay can stretch weeks. A buyer standing at the counter next year may see one 605, realize it might be months before another appears, and secure it on the spot. Together, these 5 firearms capture the spirit of the current market. Freedom purchases rather than fear purchases, performance upgrades instead of bare minimum compliance. Each model serves a different mission, yet all share one motive: to embrace the breathing room created by a friendlier regulatory forecast and own gear that sparks genuine enthusiasm before the shelves read out of stock again. And there you have it. Guys, 5 Guns Americans are buying because they can, not because they're scared they won't be able to. We've got factory comps, Cold War clones, carbon-wrapped suppressor hosts, and revolvers so slick they deserve their own tuxedo. So tell us in the comments, which one would you buy first, and what's already impossible to find in your area? Are you grabbing gear for carry training or just because it finally feels good to? Drop your answers below, hit like, share this video with your crew, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.